Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank one of my subscribers, Adrian Thomas, for this story. Adrian, you may be my relative. Thomas, that was my maiden name. so, and I got a lot of relatives with that last name, and I don't know who they are, unfortunately. And that kind of goes with, my ancestry. So, but let me move on to this story. Ladies and gentlemen, the CDC sent a team to study the area of East Palestine, where the train disaster happened. And guess what? The CDC study team fell ill during the time they were there investigating. So I guess now you know what the people that live there were saying about how sick they're feeling. And you had your EPA go there telling them inside of their house is okay. I mean, that doesn't even make any common sense. You're going to always be opening and closing the door, going in and out of the house for work, and how is it that that air is not going to make it in the house? That just it just goes to show you how this government will do anything to get out of paying you. So we'll see what will result in now the CDC team falling ill not long after they went down there to do a study. So, seven US government investigators fell ill while studying the possible health impacts of the toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. The US Center for Disease Control and Prevention confirmed to CNN on Thursday. Ain't that something? The whole team went down there and got sick. And that right there should tell you it's not even safe to go visit someone in East Palestine. And if they got sick during an investigation, can you imagine the impact that it's having on the residents, their children, the elderly, their pets? I mean, just everything. So the investigators' symptoms included a sore throat, headache, coughing, and nausea, consistent with the residents and what they have been experiencing since February 3rd. It does something. And they were wearing hazardous suits and they still got, the hazmat suits and they still got sick. So it's not safe, and they keep talking about cleanup. I said this before, y'all. I don't believe that place can be cleaned up. I don't. I don't believe it can be. So, investigators experienced symptoms, were part of a team conducting a house to house survey in the area near the derailment, and they immediately reported their symptoms to federal safety officers. Symptoms resolved for most of the team later that same afternoon, but everyone resumed working on the survey within 24 hours. Impacted by team members have not reported ongoing health effects, a CDC spokesperson said in a statement. Y'all, I don't believe that happened. I don't believe they got sick and then by the afternoon they were all fine. I don't know about you, but I don't believe they're telling the truth in this story. I don't believe them. The illnesses are coming to light after repeated assurances by the government officials and representatives for, Northern Southern, the train company, and they're insisting that the air and the drinking water in East Palestine is not hazardous to health. Okay, if it's not hazardous to health, then how do you explain those CDC uh, team that was investigating down there? How did they get so sick so quickly? if nothing is toxic. If it's in the air, it would have to be in the water. Okay? If it's in the air, it's in the soil. And like I said, I don't believe it can be cleaned up, but they won't admit it. Wow. It is not clear what caused the investigators' symptoms, whether chemical exposure or something else, such as fatigue. They take us for fools, don't they? Okay, so the whole team had fatigue. The entire team did. But the team, some whom are officers and physicians in the CDC, Epidemic Intelligence Service, found it suspicious that they became ill at the same time with the same symptoms, according to an official familiar with the cases. They spoke to CNN on this matter. So they got sick at the same time, all had the same symptoms, and they're trying to spin the article to make it seem like, oh, we don't know if any chemical exposure caused this. They might have all just been fatigued. Wow. Talk to everybody like we're fools. So the official said not to be identified because they are not authorized to share details of the incident. A CDC spokesperson confirmed information in the official's account, including the date, the number of people involved, and the symptoms they experience. So you're in a town that experienced probably one of the worst disasters in recent history. You all got sick, and you don't think it has nothing to do with the environment down there? Because the investigators' symptoms improved soon after they left the area. Well, yeah, I can see that happen. So when they left the area, because I mean, in the beginning of the article, it almost sounded like, okay, they felt these symptoms and then they just out of nowhere went away. No. So you left an area that is poisoned with toxins. And the moment you drove out of that area, you started feeling better. But y'all are trying to tell these residents that it's safe to be there. You're still wrong. So this is what they're saying. As soon as they left the area, everything improved. The incident was not reported to the public, the official said, noting the reports of illnesses experienced by the CDC personnel on the job wouldn't ordinarily be disclosed. Why not tell the residents? No, because they don't want to stir a panic. That's what they don't want to do. I still say, they have the right to know. And that is a clear sign that things are not okay with being in that place. They got to leave, but there's a lot of people sitting there and they can't leave. Probably don't even have the financial means to leave. It adds confirmation that the symptoms reported by East Palestine residents are real and are associated with environmental exposures from the derailment and chemical fire, said David Michaels, an epidemiologist and professor at the George Washington University School of Public Health. All right. So he ran the Occupational Safety and Health Administration between 2009 and 2017. So, in a separate case in February, two contractors were working for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, reported symptoms related to strong odors and reported them to the safety officer. The safety officer advised the contractors to step away from the area where they were working and monitor their symptoms. And remember, they had on hazmat suits. I remember because I did the story on it when these workers got sick. So they stepped out of the area and the symptoms started easing. When they returned to work on the site, they got sick again. CNN asked the EPA were the contractors, who they were and what were they working on, what were they doing when they experienced the symptoms. But the EPA did not respond at all. So a spokesperson for FEMA says its safety officer didn't receive any reports of staff experiencing symptoms while working in the area, but they did get sick. So it doesn't it sound like they're trying to hide a lot of this? The CDC workers that went there to do an investigation, they got sick. They didn't tell the residents that these folks came in there and got sick. And now you got another government agency that said they weren't aware of anybody getting sick. It's almost, well, they are. It's like they're withholding information on purpose because they are. So, it just goes over the hazardous material, the train wreck and all that. I'm not going to rehash that because we all know about it. I think you got to be living under a rock not to know what happened in East Palestine. So, the CDC team reported their illness to the EPA, and these folks were staying in hotels. They were staying in hotels and they got sick. And they said they were about 30 miles outside of East Palestine when this CDC team was there. And the EPA did pretty much the same thing. They stayed in hotels. Mm-mm-mm. The CDC acknowledged the incident to CNN after posts began circulating on social media saying the team was sent home because they got sick. The official said that wasn't the case. So, no, they're coming forward to speak because now people are becoming aware of it. And you know how everything spreads on social media, spreads like a wildfire. And they're just trying to get ahead of this entire thing. So, we know the residents have been complaining about symptoms, and the top symptoms that are still being reported are headaches. And that was 74% of the people saying they had headaches. 61% said they felt anxiety. Um, 53% said they are coughing. 53% feel fatigue. Pain, irritation, burning of the skin, 50% of the people said they felt that. A stuffy nose, sinus congestion, 50%. According to the Ohio Department of Health, the questions on the survey, they were asking the residents what type of symptoms they were having, and that's what they had reported. Wow. People are still feeling symptoms there. That did not go away. All right. So they said the survey didn't really get into how the residents were exposed, and what levels they were exposed to. So it didn't get into those types of detail when they did the survey. I think this is a shame. You know, I think when this happened and they realized it was a big hazard and the environment was literally poisoned in that area, people should have gotten out and nobody should have returned back to that place. Knowing that, people are still going there to clean up and do investigations and those folks are getting sick, that says a lot right there. It's not safe to be there. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.